If there is anyone watching this right now and you're in a position where you're thinking, well, I really like this person, but I don't like their behavior, we're not in a relationship, so I can't say anything to them, you absolutely can. You can 100% keep your standards and leave. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel and to this series where I dissect TLC's Love and Translation, a multicultural dating show where no one speaks the same language, yet everyone hopes to fall in love. If you're enjoying this series, please give this video a thumbs up. Without further ado, let's jump into episode 9. At the end of last week's video, Tulay had spotted Dylan and Sarah dancing really intimately together, and she got upset. When Dylan realizes that he has offended her, he abandons Sarah on the dance floor and goes after Tulay to try and talk to her.
I care about you. I'm trying to prove that.
Tulay decides that she's going to give him another chance, but that Dylan is on thin ice. Can we talk about possessiveness here? I know that emotions are high, that hormones are raging, and that alcohol is flowing, and all of that stuff mixed together is responsible for a lot, but the amount of possessiveness that Tulay displays over Dylan is not normal. It's unclear how long the singles were in the villa together, but in the first episode, Sangeeta references that the experiment is weeks long. I'm assuming like 3-ish, because otherwise they might have said a month. Even under normal circumstances, if a man was this intense the way that Tulay is being with Dylan, we would instantly say, yep, that's red flag behavior. So I can't find it in me to justify what she's doing. Back at the bar, Heidi is drowning her sorrows in It's bad, y'all. She gets absolutely wrecked, and she becomes the complete opposite of what she is in her normal daily life.
I'm pretty surprised to see Heidi this drunk. I think maybe she should slow down a little bit on the tequila.
You can feel his energy turning away from Heidi and toward Jennifer throughout the night. I hate that it's happening, but I get it as well. If I were on a date with a man that couldn't hold his liquor and he got progressively louder, aggressive, and mushed my face the way that Heidi mushes Khalil's face out of nowhere, I would want absolutely nothing to do with him the rest of the night.
Tequila shot? Baby shot? Yeah.
Party's over, the singles head back home, they stumble into the villa, and Khalil goes directly up to his room. When Heidi figures out that he's missing, she takes off in the direction of his room, but not before Jennifer gets there. It's unclear how long Jennifer and Khalil were alone in his room. It's long enough for her to discover that he's got a dry erase board and to start writing out "I like you" on it. There's also another frame of a drawing that Jennifer made, so of course I paused the video so that I could get a closer look at this picture. Okay, so here's the drawing. Oh, Krista, I can't see. Bam, wish granted. It's a bit blurry, but you can distinctly make out 3 figures with writing over their heads. This says you. This says me. The figure that has me written above it has curly hair. The other has short, straight hair. There's a heart between the drawing of Khalil and of Jennifer. There's also an arrow coming from Heidi to that heart, but there's an X between Jennifer and Heidi.
Coincidence? I think not.
When Heidi finally makes it up the stairs and to Khalil's door, she jiggles the handle to find this was premeditated. Jennifer is sober. Her room is at the top of the stairs. Heidi is standing at the bottom of the stairs when she's asking where Khalil is. It makes sense that if she's this plastered, she's probably really loud and practically announcing where she's headed off to. Jennifer heard her, left her room, and you can see her looking over her shoulder as she goes. Then she locked the door to keep Heidi from coming in. Khalil goes to the door, he unlocks it, and he's pretty gruff.
What?
Jennifer?
Yeah.
She gets angry, goes back downstairs, and proceeds to scream obscenities in English up to Khalil's room at both him and Jennifer.
Jennifer?
They both take a page out of Dylan and Yam's book. They have sex. Heidi claims she doesn't remember anything in the morning. She does have an opportunity to explain herself to Khalil later on in the day. She shares how she felt seeing Khalil and Jennifer interacting with each other, even referencing when she knocked on the bedroom door.
No ID. Now Jennifer.
So now I'm not buying that Heidi doesn't remember. Saving face or face is a concept that is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. Face represents the honor, dignity, status, or reputation of an individual that one strives to protect or maintain at all costs. In Japan, one can save face, lose face, give face, show face, fixed face, and even lone face. All of these variations are centered on the personal goal of maintaining respect or the opposite incentive of avoiding shame and humiliation. I think that's what's going on. Otherwise, how would it be possible for her to remember the parts of the night that hurt her the most, all while insisting that she doesn't remember anything? I'm not a drinker, so I'm puzzled, and if you can provide some insight on this, I'd appreciate it. Khalil does tell the truth about what happened with him and Jennifer.
Tashiwa and Jennifer had sex.
You.
While I do think that alcohol had a part to play on both sides for both Khalil and Heidi, I am super disappointed that Khalil decided to go ahead and sleep with Jennifer after saying with his whole chest that he was willing to wait for Heidi.
I like Khalil, but right now, I don't like him as a man.
It doesn't look good, and coming from a culture where respect and face are everything, it certainly can't feel good for her either.
I still want to keep going forward with an entourage.
Oh my gosh. Is it actually a thing for people to sleep with each other this casually and then wake up and act like nothing happened afterwards? I'm genuinely shocked. I'm confused and honestly disgusted by Khalil's nonchalance.
で、ジェニファーとセックスしたカリル、私、カリル、
I'm not gonna say that a rule on the show should have been that no one's allowed to have sex, but it should have been a rule. The cultural perceptions of sex and sexuality can vary drastically for each of these women depending on their backgrounds.
He's not my boyfriend yet, so I don't have a right to say anything about it.
If there is anyone watching this right now and you're in a position where you're thinking, well, I really like this person, but I don't like their behavior, but we're not in a relationship, so I can't say anything to them about the behavior, you absolutely can. You can 100% keep your standards and leave. This is a show, right? But the show is a sample of what goes on in daily life. In this dynamic where a passport bro links up with a woman from another country or culture, the potential for unethical behavior abounds. If there's a language barrier, that can create a situation where the man has greater control over communication and information, potentially leading to exploitation and manipulation. That's a lot of Asians. If the woman is financially dependent on the man, it may make it difficult for her to leave, even if her partner's behavior is abusive or unhealthy. Many of these women in passport bro relationships have the same mentality as Heidi when it came to sleeping in Khalil's bed. If this is what Americans do, I'll try it out. I'll see if I can get used to it. I can make it work if it means having a better life. Generally speaking, this leaves room for the person to chalk up poor, disrespectful behavior as cultural differences, when in actuality, it's poor, disrespectful behavior. I'm not saying this is every case. I'm sure that there are happy mail order brides and passport couples around the world that have made it work. But that doesn't dismiss the dangers that come along with this kind of dynamic when guys like Khalil, Tripp, and Dylan make stupid or uninformed decisions and refuse to see the bigger picture. Ever since their conversation last night, Dylan has been putting in work to regain Tulai's affection and trust. Part of his grand plan to win her over is to give her a massage.
Massage is a great way to show how you feel about someone without saying any words.
I mean, he's not wrong. In another part of the house, Lady and Jam are catching up.
No entiendo en qué momento otra vez todo se direccionó hacia...
That's my question, because this obsession with Dylan came out of nowhere after the kissing exercise.
Después de que tuvimos relaciones, sentí que eso lejos de unirnos, como que nos alejó.
So she did sleep with him for validation. At least that's how it sounds. Jam is also doing this internal tug of war over whether or not she needs to tell Dylan about her son.
It's very important information about me that I'm not going to hide. I am simply waiting for the opportunity to do it.
Is it wrong of me to say that if a man were in the same exact position, we would be eating him alive for debating hiding his child? What do you mean you haven't had the opportunity to do it? Your kids should be one of the first topics that you disclose when you're trying to date somebody. This is so backwards. The fact that you would even say, I'm not hiding my kid, I'm just waiting to talk about him, is actually insane to me. Jam gets the great idea that she needs to write Dylan a letter professing her love for him. Lady brings her the dictionary that she used when she went on her last date with Tripp so that she can help her translate the letter to English. Lady seems to be that one friend that co-signs every decision you make, whether it's good or bad. The delusions are strong with these two. This feels way too extra to be anything but desperation.
I don't want to go back home.
I'm throwing in my 2 cents here, but I'm betting that Jam, when she was in Mexico, was running off at the mouth about how she was gonna go on this show and find herself the love of her life, and doesn't want to return empty-handed because she doesn't want to feel the shame of going out there and having an opportunity to get with an American and failing. I'm not saying that to be offensive. In my personal experience and the experiences I've heard from others, it is a very real possibility that that could be happening. Later that night, Jam finds Dylan in the kitchen. She pulls him to the side to give him her letter.
My love for you is true. I never, never, never want player with you. You have a place very important in my heart.
Way too intense for a one-night stand. It's interesting to see Yam's frustration as Dylan reads her letter. It almost feels like because she's not getting this fairy tale response from him, she starts to get angry. She tells him not to blame her for what happened. She's really clinging to this kiss on the beach. Dylan lets her know that he needs time to process what she shared with him before he can speak on their connection. Speaking of connections, Giselle is completely over Trip after watching him lavish attention on Lady.
He made things very clear with Lady.
For the second time, she marches up to his room, but now it's to announce that she is leaving. While Trip doesn't understand her exact wording, he does know that Giselle's anger has something to do with Lady.
I've already decided it's just Lady I want to continue with.
Giselle beats him to the punch though, and she walks out of the room before he can say more. Giselle's attitude and departure feel like this weird mix of both culture and tantrum. She shares in earlier episodes that when she was younger, she lacked confidence. Now she never lets anyone disrespect her. But to me, this feels like she has learned to mask her insecurity by attacking other people before they can attack her. Culturally speaking, saving face is also a really important concept in Brazil. I can imagine that it's really important to Giselle to not appear as if she has been taken for a fool by Trip. I think she's putting up a front the same way that she did when she almost drowned.
You're okay.
And that's where the episode leaves us. I don't believe that Jennifer has a true interest in Khalil. I still don't like her. I still don't like Trip. And we can go ahead and add Khalil to that list for all I care. What a disappointment, bro. But that's enough about my opinion. What are your thoughts on this show and everything that unfolded during this particular episode? As we always say on our channel, with God, all things are possible. I will see you next Wednesday.